lovely souls. Happy Wednesday. It's Katie here, intuitive channel and founder of Zen Within Academy and the New Earth Now School with your Zen Withins'day update. I am coming to you from my car because it's really hot outside and my neighbor is having a tree cut down and it's super loud. So I just pulled over and parked on my way out here to an appointment. So a couple of things. What's going on? It is September. Holy cow. The end of August was a little rough. I don't know about you all, but it seemed a little challenging, I think, for a lot of us to move through the end of August. But we did it. We're here in September. And I sent out my energy update last week, and some of the themes that we have are already popping off, already very present, and I want to talk with you about them today. My hubby and I and some friends just got back from a long weekend over Labor Day at Floyd Yoga Jam, and it was pretty awesome. I'm still basking in the afterglow of the love bubble that is Floyd Yoga Jam. It is something that my body and my being looks forward to every year, being in community and being with people and listening to music and doing yoga and teaching workshops and being on the earth and sitting in the creek and just amazing things that happen there. I'm feeling really full and joyous after that experience and just happy to have had it again for I think like the 9th time. And one of the things that happened while I was away and was participating in that experience was just a reaffirmation of some of our September themes. We have 6 planets now in retrograde. Mercury will go out of retrograde, I think, around the 13th or so of September. Venus just went direct. Yes, that's awesome. That means that some of our relationship stuff is hopefully going to work itself out now. If you've been feeling the push with relationship stuff, it's going to be working itself out now as we move direct with Venus, and things will start calming down a little bit on the relationship front. But with all these planets in retrograde, one of our themes this month is slowing down to speed up. And I had an experience in the creek at Yoga Jam that I've really been sitting with and has been coming forward in some of my healing sessions so far this week. And so I wanted to share it with you all. So with this idea of slowing down and going inward and using that, there's deer just going across the back behind my car back there. It's my spirit animal. With this idea of slowing down and going inward that we have this month, I was sitting in the creek and I had been there at Yoga Jam for a couple of days, and by then my nervous system had pulled out of the city energy and the overwhelm that exists here day to day in Charlotte. And I was just noticing that even though that had happened, that my nervous system was still tuned into hyper-vigilance, and I was very aware of everything that was happening around me, the people talking, the music playing on the stage, the bubbling of the creek, the kids playing in the creek and screaming and yelling, and the butterflies flowing around. I was very aware of everything, but I wasn't in a relaxed state of awareness. I was still in hyper-vigilance. And I guess it was just the confluence of events and the focus of the energies this month, but I was really able, as I tuned in, to notice how much fear was existing in my body that was creating this tension in my nervous system of hypervigilance. And I think this is something that maybe we all carry to some extent, but for those of you that are like me and are hypersensitive and have had some kind of trauma in your childhood and in your adult life, and your nervous system has gotten stuck in fight or flight because of that, this hypervigilance is real. And in the creek, I was able to just sit and ground myself, but then imagine pulling all of these tendrils of energy back to my being that were extended from my being in a sense of hypervigilance. And as I drew them back, I said to all of these parts that were afraid, that were keeping tabs on what was happening around me out of fear, that I appreciate them for keeping me safe, and that I would like to repattern that hypervigilance into a different energy. And so I started imagining, as these energy tendrils were coming back to me and they were grounding back down into my body, and I was affirming my energy body, that I could have access to that same level of energy and hypervigilance, but with a different intention. And so I sent my energy field out and sent those tendrils out again, but with the intention of being hyper present and fully aware of what was happening around me, not out of fear, but out of awe and wonder and delight. And I started playing with this intention of, okay, how can I use this part of my being that has developed as a trauma response and see it come into a higher expression where I'm slowing everything down and I'm using this awareness of my energy field and this natural hypervigilance tendency to extend my energy field out and just become really aware of my surroundings. And I was able to amplify certain sounds like the creek and the music playing in the background and the feeling of the wind on my body and the sun on my body. And I was able to soften other ones where people were having a conversation and a couple was having an argument on the banks of the creek. I was able to soften some of those things and expand my senses in other areas so that I could become very present and very aware. And I just played with that for 45 minutes, played with the energy, just noticed what that did in my body, how it felt in my experience. And then the next morning I went to several classes, and in each of them there was somebody speaking about the power of awe and wonder and presence. And so I said, okay, universe, I hear you. I hear the message that you're giving me that we need as a collective, and I need personally to expand my senses and expand my perception, not through fear, but through awe and wonder. And so I've been bringing this into some of my sessions with my clients already this week and inviting them to tune into their being, tune into their nervous system, the parts of them that stay hyper vigilant and worried out of fear, and see if they can claim a higher expression of that energy and begin to look out at their environment and look in awe and wonder, look in that childlike curiosity, and see if you can become more present and more joy-filled in your experience as you repattern these energies. And the guides brought through yesterday a teaching that when we do this, we're actually repatterning and reprogramming our brain, and we're reprogramming our nervous system. And so this is something that, is really important for us all to do as a collective, is to pull out of these fear stories, out of these fear programs, and bring in higher versions of all of those stories so that we can be more present and more joy-filled and more loving in our experience. And one of the things that we're going to be working on in Healing Circle next week, with the intention of open for connection, which is our theme, is not only opening for connection and healing our heart wounds with those around us, but opening for more connection with our guides and our helpers and Mother Earth. And I think this idea of pulling back this hypervigilant energy, healing that fear story, healing those fear programs, soothing our nervous system and repatterning that so that we can become more present is a way for us to open to more connection. Because when we're not present, we're not picking up on the subtle cues of the people around us that maybe want to connect with us, and the deer that just passed by the back of my car just a moment ago, right? Like, I can be aware of all these things even when I'm talking to you all, and there is a way to expand that into presence and become more connected to the natural world around me and the people around me. So just a little food for thought this month. If you're someone who's carrying that hypervigilant energy, I invite you to encourage your being to shift that energy from a place of fear to a place of awe and wonder. And really, you just have to do that with your intention. That's where it starts. And we'll practice this together and do some other work in our Healing Circle next Wednesday on the 13th. I think it's the day that Mercury goes direct at 7:30 p.m. Okay? I hope y'all have a great Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week. Bye.